Man, what's up? How's it going? Wanted to talk about the stupidity that people just do constantly. I swear, I just feel like I'm living in clown world because all I see are clowns all the time. And one of the things that's been going around is this F. Joe Biden. So here we have Dr. Steve Turley here, we're just going to play the beginning of this a little bit to show what he's talking about. And
it's the chant that's being heard all around the world, and now even the leftist liberals in the mainstream media can no longer.
This is all stupid. 100% stupid. I hate watching the news. Because so what? F. Joe Biden? What the hell are you talking about? Don't you mean F them all? He's not doing this alone. Republicans are not doing a damn thing. He just flat out breaks the law. He says, I'm going to do the eviction moratorium, which is the Supreme Court said is completely illegal. Does it anyways. Then he does it with the CDC is imposing this. Illegal too. It's a job. Being the president is not being God. It's just a damn job. And you know what? He's broken the law. He should be fired. Impeached. You get rid of Joe Biden? What? You think Kamala Harris is going to be any better? What are you talking about? Do you not know her history? It's just one scandal after another. You know, where she had relations with that guy in California to get her position? Are you kidding me? It's been her entire career where she'll say something about how, oh yes, so we really cracked on pot, and then she smoked pot in college. Double standard, lying piece of trash. You understand? Well then, help me out because I'm tired of all this from the politicians and the media. Give this video a like, give it a thumbs up. Because it's not like the system has really good intentions. You know, that we have elected officials who represent our area and then take them to the state capital, the national capital, and try to help out their area. But it's outdated. One of the things is that something needs to be done about money. So for example, with that is AOC gets more money outside of her district than she does with her district. To be honest, I don't know what you do about that. I've thought about that a lot, off and on for a while, and it's like, there's a reason why that's a problem. It's because it's a very difficult problem, and I've never heard of anybody give a solution that's worth a damn. It's always a bunch of stupid nonsense that just, it's like, no, there's just a billion loopholes with it. You're just saying that because that's what you've heard someone else say before. You haven't given it any thought, because if you had, you would know the damn thing's full of holes. One of the things that's outdated with that is that because we have electronics, whenever these people go off and they run, they should have to list what they're running on, their platform, and then they have to stick to it. They don't get to change. They have to stick. You could think of this like a lawyer. If you go to court, even if you're guilty, Your lawyer's supposed to fight for you tooth and nail to see that you walk away. That's exactly what a politician should do. If they're pro-life or pro-choice, they don't get to change their mind, and they have to fight tooth and nail for whatever it is that they ran on, and they don't get to change their mind until their term is up. They don't get to just change it just because it's like, oh yeah, I know I ran on this, but now that I'm in office, I've changed my mind. No, you don't. Or, you know what? Fine, you've changed your mind. You're no longer in office. We're going to get someone else. Because they do this all the time. They take it so far where they'll, Hillary Clinton, whenever she ran against Donald Trump, she was going around the country, and whenever she was going down south, she started talking like she had a southern twang in her accent. It's like, well, no, I'm not going to use profanity. I don't understand why these people think for 1 second that getting rid of Biden is going to solve anything. You have to change the system. We have a lot of good systems. One of these systems that we have is the system that we have for driving our cars. Because what's really going on? We travel around at high rates of speed in these big monstrous machines made out of plastic, glass, and metal, surrounded by complete strangers. And we don't have complete death and anarchy all over the place whenever we go driving because we have a good system. What are some of the things that make this system good? Well, it's fair, it's equal, there's not special favor to anyone. It's like, no, everyone has to drive in their lane, everyone has to drive the speed limit, everybody has to stop at red lights and stop signs. There's no exception for this. Well, I take that back. I guess there's a few, like if there's a police chase, if there's a funeral. But other than that, it's like, if you're a politician, you got to stop too. I don't know about the president. I think the president has to too. Of course he does. Yeah, he does. So if everyone has to, why don't we do those same things? Those are good principles that we have with the good systems, which is everybody's treated the same. There's no special favor. No special favors for politicians, celebrities, news media. It's like, You're treated just like everyone else. Why? Because we're all Americans. I don't give a damn if you're male or female, rich or poor, black or white, whatever. You're an American. That's as far as the story goes. There's nothing else to it. And these people, it's more like a cult. Whenever I hear all that F. Joe Biden stuff, I don't hear a political message in there. I don't hear anything that's going to make anything better. You know what I hear? I hear a religious chant. That's all that is. It's no different than whenever you see that nonsense with the left. And they're all chanting and praising. This is the right's equivalent to it. It's both garbage. I want things to be better. I don't give a damn about Republicans or Democrats. I'm a fighter for the damn truth. I'm a fighter for making things better, and not because of my feelings, but because there's something to back it up. It's like, oh, well, we've done it. We've tested it out. And here's what the evidence shows, and it doesn't come just from one place. It's like many places have tried it in many different areas, and they keep getting the same thing. And I know I try to use studies with this stuff, and one of the problems that they have with research is that a lot of this stuff isn't peer reviewed. And because there's no incentive behind it, one of the things that should happen is that for you to be able to do research and to publish your findings, you should first have to do peer review on like 2 or 3 other things from your colleagues and then you get to do your one. So then that way we have plenty of peer review, because whenever somebody says, oh, well, here's my information, and this is what I found to be true, we don't want just one other looking at it and doing peer review on it. We want like 3 or 4. So that's why if you want to submit something to a journal or wherever and to be published, well, then you're going to have to do 3 or 4, because we want that ratio. We want, for every paper that's being submitted, we want 3 or 4 to also peer review. You know, and we can put whatever guidelines that we want on it. It's like, all right, well, one of the guidelines is that with one of those things that you have to peer review, it has to be something that nobody else has done. Or it has to be something that has been published within the last year. You can't go back like 40 years ago. It needs to be something current. You know, or maybe one of them could be something that was 4 years ago. It's like, okay, one of the peer reviews that you have to do, nobody's done a peer review on it, and it has to be within the past year or so. And then another one of those peer reviews needs to be something where it's got maybe 2 to 3 or 2 to 5 others that have peer review on it, but we need some more, and it needs to be like 10 to 20 years old. We can put whatever we want to on it, but we don't have it. And it's like, well, why not? Because that's easy. Because it's one scientist or institution say, here's everything that we did. We've done all the work. You just take this, and all you have to do is duplicate. You duplicate our results. And if you can't, then we go back to the drawing board. But we've already got the information. We've got the testing criteria and all that stuff. It's already there. All you have to do is just set it up and see if you can do it. There's a lot less involved. A lot quicker, a lot easier, all that stuff. And then he had this other video too. Oh, wait a minute. So all this will be in the description below for the links if you want to watch the rest of it. This one is titled, It's Over. 55% of voters want Biden to resign. This YouTube channel is Dr. Steve Turley. So whenever I get into these videos that I do for freedom of expression, I'm not trying to change anyone's mind with this stuff. I'm just trying to do one thing, and that's to show that there's just lies and stupidity. It's clown world all over the damn place, and I'm fed up with it. So if you are too, man, like, subscribe. So he's got another video here, and this one's called FBI Calls Parents Protesting School Boards Domestic Terrorists. And so it's the same thing, so we'll watch the beginning of this video a little bit.
School board officials are calling for help tonight, following increasingly violent incidents like this in Minnesota. A man complimenting school board members during a debate over masks, who's then charged.
Well, what is this guy doing with his arm right here? He's just, I don't understand. I don't understand that at all. If you could leave a comment down below, I don't get this at all. We're going to watch this again. But his arm over here, it's on my left-hand side of the screen. I don't know if it's the same on yours. But you see one arm of his. It's the arm that you can't see. He just dangles around. I don't know what he's doing. Is it a fake hand or something?
During a debate over masks, who's then charged by an unmasked man. Writing to...
I tell you what, if somebody was doing that to me, I'd be hitting them in their face or something. I don't understand.
President Biden, the National School Boards Association, asked for help investigating the violent incidents and suggested the FBI monitor threats to board members, likening these heinous actions to domestic terrorism.
The impact of the pandemic on public schools is creating this.
The FBI with the...
So, this is the same thing. It's these stupid people in this damn clown world that I live in, where they think that shouting makes you right. I don't care, from the right or the left, shouting loudly doesn't make you right. It doesn't make you good. Oh, I know what I need to show you. I had to dig around for just a moment, but this is an older video. I remember this pretty well because I thought these three panelists that he was talking to were just full of trash. And there was one thing that he said that just really stuck out with me. And I found it here. It's Ben Shapiro addresses Black Lives Matter. The Long Con is the name of the YouTube channel that this is on. This was back in 2016. It's 36 minutes and 9 seconds into it, and we're just going to hear from his mouth.
Honestly, it's not useful to riot, it's not useful to break things, it's not useful to throw rocks at people, and the idea that we're supposed to sort of correlate your level of outrage.
So here we go. This next little part right here is the same thing. The left does this, and so here's the right doing it too, and it doesn't matter, left or right.
Stick to the 30 seconds.
Yeah, the last sentence. The idea that we're supposed to correlate your level of outrage with a certain level of justification. In other words, the more outraged you are and the more angry you are, the more justified you must be, is absolute nonsense.
That's it, man. I don't give a damn what you're yelling about, whether if it's you're yelling F Joe Biden or BLM. I don't care. You yelling doesn't mean one damn thing to me at all. You better come at me with some kind of problem with a proposed solution. That's what I do here. It's like, a solution for this, like I mentioned, is that politicians don't get the flip-flop. That they have to stand by what it is that they ran on. And we can have all of this information available to us at our fingertips with the computers and the internet and cell phones and tablets and laptops and all that stuff. And you don't get to change your mind until you run for your next term. That you should be acting like a lawyer, that even if you don't believe in it anymore, well, you still better fight tooth and nail for it. And if you really don't want to, well, then there's the door. There's plenty of other people who can do that damn job. Because I tell you what, if some little ding-dong like AOC who is tending bar can go up there and be a politician, then you know what? So can anyone else. So can you. So can I. Whatever. I don't want that trash at all, though. But you know what? All this is just stupid. These parents yelling at the board members. It's like, shut the hell up, grow up, and fix the damn problem. So what's the problem? It's problems like, what the hell does somebody who lives hundreds or thousands of miles away in Washington, D.C. know about you and what's going on with your children, the education system, the corruption, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between? And the answer is not one damn thing. So what's the solution? It's that the way it's supposed to be, that it's been set up to be, that we've gotten away from, is that each state is supposed to do their own thing. And we can make things better by saying that the states that are doing things the worst, they should have to change. They should, and it's not like they would have to do something completely different, but stupidity is doing the exact same thing over and over and over again and expecting something different. So they would have to do some changes. Maybe not a whole lot, but something. If you've got your students, for example, and they are performing the worst out of the country, it's like, well, then we should take a stronger look at those states that are doing the best with their students and compare and contrast and make changes where they're the most obvious or where they're the most opposite. So for example, I don't give a damn about giving more money to the education system. And that's because, did you know that Catholic schools have one of the better educational graduation rates in the country? And that they have some of the poorest funding that there is? Doesn't matter if you've got computers and a nice new shiny building and a great big gym. If all your teachers are morons, if whenever they're supposed to be teaching math, but they're talking about some social justice nonsense, they should be fired. You didn't do your job. You know what? Technically, that isn't even being fired. It's them quitting. Because it's like, no, your job was to teach math. You weren't doing it. You didn't do your job. You quit. How many ways can you quit your job? Well, for one is you can just stop doing it. Number two, you could just, you could just go and just take a break for 8 hours. You could just not show up to work. If you just stop showing up to work, you didn't get fired. You quit. You quit showing up. There's more than one way to quit. You can give 2 weeks notice if you want to. You could have a friend or family member just call in and say, I quit. You could go in, slap your boss, and say, I quit, here and now. There's more than one way to quit. This is one of them. It's you didn't do your job. And so what should these parents be doing? They should be changing the system. They should be saying a politician in D.C. should have no control over this. And they should go to the court. Because you know what? You have to prove it. You have to show it. You have to do something. And that's something that politicians don't do either. It's too much of... Politicians don't care about the truth. They only want to do whatever the mob mentality wants. Because that's what gets them votes. It's not what's right or wrong. It's trash. So if you've understood all this, which I'm assuming that you do because you're here, I bet I'm talking to some pretty level-headed, smart people. Like the video. Subscribe and become a member. Because I'm dealing with this one way or another. I would appreciate your help. The more the better and all that jazz. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you later. Bye.